Hello everyone, this is Akal, and what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about transmuting energy. Uh, the sequence that I want to teach you guys today is, well, it's two parts. The first two exercises are exercises that I've covered in previous videos, but I always think that they're excellent exercises in order to sort of get the energy moving. Then the second portion of the exercises are from this book, which is from the Kundalini yoga tradition. And the idea here, though, is this is all about transmutation. This is about shifting, I'll use alchemical terms, this is about shifting sort of base metals, changing base metals into gold. Other words, this is about shifting energy upward. However, it is a two-way street. You can think about the Taoists talk about microcosmic orbit, they talk about a number of things, and you see in a lot of traditions this need to connect with the body, which is the downward portion, so that the energy can then rise up. And again, without getting too esoteric or complex, essentially what we're doing here is we're yoking or bringing into union the feminine, I don't like using that term, or masculine, but the idea here is that we're bringing the mind, which would be kind of more like the masculine aspect, into contact, into direct connection with the physical body, which would be considered like the feminine. So in other words, we're moving into density in order to elevate into more subtle realms. The first two, like I said, the first two exercises are exercises I typically do before I do any practice. So now this overall practice, though, what I want to kind of tell you about real quickly is who is this for? Well, this is for anyone who wants to move around energy, generally speaking. I personally, when doing this sequence, have experienced some very deep, intense meditations, particularly if you do it, let's say around a full moon or a new moon. And then sometimes for me also around a quarter moon are also quite powerful times. I'm a very lunar being, so for me the moon is highly impactful. The other thing that the other people who might be interested in this exercise are folks who tend towards having a lot of tension. So high tension people, and let's see what else. Other folks who tend to be very controlled. This is another good practice for them to, it'll make sense once we get into the practice here, why those who have a lot of controls might benefit from this practice. And then finally, pretty much anyone who just wants deeper levels of surrender. There's a great deal of mouth breathing. And I always, I always thought, like the term, when somebody calls you a mouth breather, they're saying you're dumb, right? However, in this particular case, mouth breathing is, it serves a purpose, it serves a function, which is a cooling effect. So when somebody calls you a mouth breather, it's because when you're breathing through your mouth, it causes a coolness. Now, this breath isn't entirely through the mouth. It's actually the portion from the book that I just showed you. It's actually inhale mouth, exhale nose. Anyway, I don't want to make it overly complex for you. So let's go ahead and we're going to start off with the first portion of this exercise, which is we're going to do some breath of fire. And again, I've covered breath of fire probably in several other videos before. Breath of fire is done from below the navel. So think about two fingers below the navel, your hara, lower dantian, whatever you want to call it. When you pull in there, air will go out, and when you relax, air comes in. Now, if you're doing it in reverse, you kind of have to pay attention. If you are pulling in and inhaling, that is reciprocal breathing, which is a different technique. I'm not going to say it's wrong, but in the case of breath of fire, it's wrong. It's reciprocal breathing is like you're inhaling and you're pulling in and you're pressing the air upwards. Now that serves another purpose. In the case of breath of fire, pulling in the belly, air goes out, and then when you relax the belly, air comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do breath of fire, I'm going to do it about 100 pumps. After 100 pumps, we're going to do Mahabandha, which I've covered many times in other videos. Mahabandha, just as a reminder, is root lock or Mula Bandha, diaphragm lock, Uddiyana Bandha, and essentially diaphragm lock is when you exhale all the air out, you're pulling, creating a suction, pulling up under the ribs. That is Uddiyana Bandha, which basically means to fly up. So to fly up. Makes sense? Diaphragm's pulled up, and essentially the energy will then escalate upward. Neck lock. Then finally, tongue hits the roof of the mouth, roll the eyes up towards the center part of the head. And we'll do that once or twice after we do the breath of fire. And then after we do those two exercises, we'll get into the practice from, once again, from this particular book. So let's go ahead and place our hands in Gyan Mudra, hands on the knees. Now, I'm not going to do the full length for all these exercises on this video, so I will tell you when to pause. I'll go through the breath of fire and the Mahabandha with you, but the rest of the exercises I'm just going to do for a short duration because they're intended to be done for a longer period of time. So let's go ahead and start by, once again, nice upright spine, a little bit of a neck lock, straight spine. I'm a little bent today. And what we're going to do here is you're going to take a deep breath in, exhale all the air out, inhale half breath, and we'll begin. Breath of fire. Keep it up about another 30 seconds. Inhale a deep breath. And begin to contract your pelvic floor, so contract the anus, the perineum, tip of the penis towards the base, or if you're a woman, right around the clitoris towards the, inward. And then pull in your belt line. So that is root lock. All the air should be out. Now you're going to pull upward, so creating that suction. Pulling upward under the rib cage. Finally, neck tucks, tongue hits the roof of the mouth, roll the eyes up towards the center part of the head. Hold briefly. When you're ready to inhale, relax your pelvic floor, relax diaphragm lock, relax your neck, relax the tongue, relax the eyes. And then inhaling. Let's do this one more time. So exhale all the air out. Contracting root lock. Uddiyana Bandha, creating suction, pulling up under the ribs. Neck lock, tongue hits the roof of the mouth, roll the eyes up towards the center of the head. Once again, holding that for as long as comfortable, and then when you're ready to release, inhale, relaxing everything, and then exhale. So typically, like I said, you can do this many times if you wish. We just did it twice. That is not a prescribed amount of times. I'm just doing it twice for demonstration purposes. So the next portion of this exercise is from the book. The first stage is to bring the eyes to the tip of the nose, which I have a little practice I do because sometimes I'll bring my eyes to the tip of the nose and it feels like one eye is off, like there's a muscle tension inside the eye or something. So it becomes rather difficult to maintain a gaze at the tip of the nose. So in order to bring the eyes to the tip of the nose, usually, well, first off, let's go ahead and do the mudra. So the mudra is quite simple. It's just the Jupiter fingers, or rather the index fingers, are pointed upright. You want to bring the elbows to right about the level of the ribs. Again, once again, nice upright spine. Chin gently tucked downward. And so when you're looking at the tip of the nose, the thing you want to see is you want to see not only the tip of the nose, but you want to see your right and left index fingers on either side of the nose as well. So not up by the nose, but you'll see them, you know, from that perspective as being on either side of the nose. So in order to bring my eyes to the tip of the nose, what I usually do is first I start by looking up and to the left, inhale a deep breath, retain the breath, hold that briefly. Then you want to roll the eyes, retaining the breath, up and to the right. Hold that briefly. Roll the eyes directly up. Hold that briefly. Then you want to exhale and bring the eyes down towards the tip of the nose. And then you want to relax your eyelids so they are 1/10 open or 9/10 shut, which is a very calming gaze. So now you should be able to see the tip of the nose and your right and left index fingers. Now the breath is quite simple. It's inhaling through pursed lips, nice long deep inhale. And you want to exhale out the nose. Completely. Inhaling mouth. Exhaling nose. So let's do a couple more breaths together. Inhaling mouth. Exhaling nose. Let's do one more breath. Inhaling mouth. Exhaling nose. All right, so what you want to do is you want to continue that breath pattern for about 11 minutes. So the last 1.5 minutes or so, what you may want to do is you want to accelerate the breath pattern, inhaling a little more quickly and exhaling a little more intensely. And again, this will increase the level of oxygen saturation, and it'll also aid you in creating more of a parasympathetic nervous system response, or a calming rest and digest response in your body, which you will experience as being very cool and very calm. So you may want to pause the video now and continue the breathing. So now moving on to the next portion of this exercise, that is just allowing the hands to relax in the lap. I just do right hand over left, and I place my thumb tips together gently. It doesn't specify in the instructions on how to do this. This is just generally what I do. So now what you want to do is, after you've done, like I said, 11 minutes or so of the other breath practice, and think about 3 to 11 minutes of that practice, you want to kind of build up, using your own sort of tolerance levels. Some folks have a hard time sitting still for that long. So again, work with where you're at. So with the hands in your lap, what you want to do now is you want to close the eyes and bring your awareness to your spine. So we're going to meditate for about 2.5 minutes on the spine. And what you want to picture is you want to picture a tube of light moving from, well, not rather moving, but basically encasing the spinal cord all the way from the tailbone to the portion of the spine that goes up inside the head at the base of the skull. So you want this to be kind of a light blue electric kind of color. Not always easy to perceive, but regardless, you want to definitely place your awareness on the spine. But again, light blue tube. So once again, you want to do this for about 2.5 minutes. So you can go ahead and once again pause the video. All right, so the third portion of this video is, we're only going to do this for 3 breaths. You're going to interlace the fingers, place them at the neck, so I'm bringing the elbows forward. And essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to inhale a deep breath, and I'm pulling my hands forward while pushing my neck back. We're going to retain the breath for about 10 to 15 seconds. And after 10 to 15 seconds, I usually like to exhale out the mouth like a cannon. Then inhale. Once again, repeating. Pulling the hands forward while pushing the neck back, finding a balance point. Neutralizing the pressure. 10 to 15 seconds. After 10 to 15 seconds, once again, exhale. One final time, inhale. Pull the arms forward, push the neck back. Nice tall spine. Find that balance point. And exhaling. Then inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, relaxing the arms. And then I highly recommend, like I said, doing about 5 minutes of meditation at very least. And if you can, later in the evening, you want to do a deeper meditation, but you definitely want to meditate after this practice. You'll have saturated yourself with oxygen. You're going to experience a great deal of, coolness. You're going to experience a stillness of your mind that, generally speaking, is rather difficult to access for most of us unless we intentionally breathe for some period of time. So in this whole process, we'll shift around sexual energy. It will shift around any sort of base energies. One final thing I'll say about this, though, the idea of transmutation, what truly will transform the energy is the meditation. The practices, essentially what the practices are, is you're getting multiple points of focus, right? So the beginning, the third portion of this practice, we're looking at the tip of the nose. We have the fingers up. We're gazing at the 2 fingertips as well as the tip of the nose. And there's a breath practice going on. So in other words, there's multiple points of focus and concentration. Anywhere you place your focus, your attention is where the energy flows. So that's why this is a transmutation exercise. Now, where the true transmutation happens is in the release, the letting go, the surrender during the meditation at the very end here. So again, you definitely want to meditate at the end of this particular procedure. So with all that said, I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you.